Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the third of our An Audience with our Alumni series here on LinkedIn Live or on YouTube or Facebook if you're joining us there. My name is Fraser Morrison, and I'm delighted to be joined today by one of our fabulous alumni, Dr. Emma Perfect. So welcome, Emma.
Hi, Fraser.
How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. Super.
Thank you so much for joining us and telling your story. So over the next 20 minutes or so, for those of you who haven't joined us before, every month we catch up with one of our alumni, find out a little bit about their company program experience when they were back at school and everything that kind of gone on to do since then, and some key lessons from life and work that they've learned along the way to hopefully help our current students who are doing the company program and all of our alumni out there across our networks to hopefully help them in their career journeys as well. And for those of you who are listening in, if you've got any questions, please feel free to fire them into the comments, and I'll make sure that we can try and get to some of them at the end with Emma today. So Emma, I guess if we start right back at the very beginning of your relationship with Young Enterprise Scotland, do you remember about your company program and what you actually did?
It was a very long time ago, but I do distinctly remember it, yes. So we had a company that made notelets. So we didn't have any ideas when we joined the scheme, and our advisor suggested we thought about something the school was famous for. And we had this really great calendar that was made by the art department every year, and students had a competition and they drew a picture of Scotland and they chose the best 12 into a calendar, and it sold really well in the school. So we thought maybe we could take some of those pictures and make them into notelets, and we sold them, and it worked really well. It was profitable business and everyone liked it. It was good. It was really good.
A very positive experience then if you made some money at the end of it as well.
Well, yeah, I think that was just a nice thing to have. I don't think it was really about making all that money, really. I think we surprised ourselves.
And how big was your team when you took part? Was it quite a big team or just a few of you?
There might have been 8 of us.
A good number.
Big or not, but I can think of about 8 people that I still remember in it. So.
And I think sometimes that can pose a challenge, the size of the team, whether it's too small to operate effectively or sometimes too large to operate effectively.
Yeah, I remember there were more people than the key jobs we could think of in a business. So yeah. So, and everyone fought over the same jobs. So I wasn't that bothered about being the managing director, but I remember that being a very popular role.
And what role in the company did you fulfill then, Emma?
So I believe I was a quality manager, quality director, which wasn't really ideal given some quality issues we had in the manufacturer. But yes, I believe that's what I was, which I think at the time I didn't even realize existed as a role. So yes.
Absolutely. An important job, especially in manufacturing. We see, especially as they come up to trade this time of year, where people coming up to trade fairs doing their prototyping and
and our advisor was from a manufacturing business, so I guess it was close to his heart.
Absolutely. And actually, interestingly, your kind of career to date, quality has obviously been quite an important part of what you've been involved in your work life.
Yes.
So I wonder if you can tell everybody a little bit about what you do now. Me and Emma had a chat on Tuesday. A fascinating journey.
So I run a business that makes chemical monitoring products. So we sell them to the oil industry to help them manage their chemicals better, so they don't use so much or so many nasty chemicals. But essentially, the chemicals they use stop pipelines from corroding, so you get pipeline leaks, which is clearly terrible for the world. So we sell them a product that helps them use the chemicals better to stop those pipeline leaks. So it's basically an instrument that's about the size of a toaster and little cardboard boxes full of detection reagents, and we ship them around the world. So from America, Canada, Malaysia, through the Middle East, just talking to people in Africa at the moment. So it's a kind of global business, and yeah, quality is a big deal.
And a little bit different from selling notelets back in your Young Enterprise.
Yeah, but one product has great commonality with another. Different market, yes. Talking to owner of a pipeline in the Middle East is a little bit different talking to my friend's mum, but the
Yeah.
product itself has some commonality.
And when we were chatting on Tuesday, what I found really interesting about your story is when you were at school, would you have called yourself a business person, a keen interest in business, or what was your passion when you were at school?
I was really glad I did it, although I think I probably did it because I really didn't want to do the school yearbook or organise the sixth form function. And you were kind of guided into doing some useful job, and those I really didn't want to do. So this one was definitely preferable. But no, when I was at school, I didn't have any idea what I was going to do with my life. So I went to university to study biology. That's what I wanted to learn more about, not because I had an idea of what I was going to do after it, just because I liked it. And then I was just fortunate after university, and I joined a business. At that point, I knew I didn't really want to go be an academic, and I wanted to go join a small business and get small businesses are great because you get all this experience. Big businesses are good too, but you tend to have one role and you can do it really well, and you've got resources to be amazing and all the rest of it. But I'm quite a generalist. I like doing lots of things across a range of the business, and so it's perfect for me.
Is it fair to say at school then that you were probably, if you had to classify people into their areas of interest, a scientist?
I knew that. Yes, I did do quite a lot of science. I wasn't allowed to do the art subjects I wanted to do because I wasn't very good at them. So I did science, and I did luckily really enjoy science.
But and what's great to hear, and I've still been involved in something like Young Enterprise, even as a scientist when you're at school, it's really important, because I think there's a lot of people out there who maybe see Young Enterprise as a company program as you have to do a business to do it, and that's not true at all.
No, you don't have to go do a business degree. You can go do any degree, I think, and then turn your hand to whatever. And there's lots of training out there once you get into the workplace or whatever to go learn things. So you can go do financial courses and marketing courses and HR courses and pick up quite a lot of skills. So no, I did a subject I enjoyed because I enjoyed it, and I had to spend 3 years doing it. But equally, that could have been business, I guess. But no, I picked it up and did the training on the job.
And your business now has taken you all over the world as part of a kind of international client. So how have you found that process?
I quite enjoy it. Well, I really enjoyed traveling. It was great. Some of the traveling was easier. When I went to a conference in Greece and they upgraded me to the honeymoon suite is a highlight. Getting stuck in customs in Saudi Arabia and being the only woman in the whole room is more challenging. I often, it's difficult. Culturally, it's very hard. I made lots of mistakes, got told I was far too Western lots of times. It's international work is challenging, but great, interesting. But yeah, challenging.
What advice would you give for so we've got a lot of alumni that listen into these who are maybe running their own business or working in business in kind of senior roles, and if any of them are considering kind of that international outlook, I think more and more, especially because of COVID, we are starting to think, especially now digitally, that the marketplace can be international, can be worldwide very easily. What advice would you give for somebody who's potentially considering that as an option?
There is heaps of help out there. Go talk to SDI, so Scottish Women International. Go join the Global Scots Network. They have people all over the world who you can go just talk to, and they'll tell you about their own regions and what to watch out for and what can help. There's an amazing network in Scotland and the UK to support businesses, because the UK government's just so interested in increasing exports. So there's masses of training, masses of help. But I'd go through something like Global Scots to get some advice.
Perfect. Now, you spoke a little bit earlier about those mistakes that maybe have happened as part of that international expansion and work. One thing I would ask all of our guests is about the concept of failure, and that people talk quite negatively often about failure, but actually it's something which can be a huge learning, and often the company program is like a really safe space for that to happen. So I wonder if you're willing to share with us what perhaps one of your biggest failures would, and how kind of what you've learned from that as part of your business journey, whether that be a company program or since then.
Do you know, there are far too many to even name that many of them. I guess so. I've had products at work, things that have failed, customers that have got irate and cross. Communication's pretty key. So with customers, I would say there have been times I haven't managed their expectations properly, and they've thought they were getting something that they weren't, and I should have told them more up front. And I think that goes with the same with the people that work with you, in that you have to keep people up to speed the whole time with what's going on. And the one thing I'm not especially great at is some of the HR issues. So I really can't abide annual appraisals and things like that. I don't think they're all that useful, but I think talking to your staff regularly and trying to feedback continually is a great thing. It's not my forte. I have to work really hard at it. So yes, tips, and if there's a thing to improve work, is definitely communicate as well as you possibly can. Make sure everyone's on board with that company vision. Where you're taking it, not the minutiae of day-to-day stuff, but what is the point and what you're trying to achieve. Is it something to make a profitable business? Is it to be something social enterprise? Is it just what the shape of the future looks like, and to talk to people in your team regularly about how happy they are or not, or what they want to do with their own careers, and help them towards it.
And you mentioned HR there as well as an area of maybe needs a bit more help and support with along the way. That's often one of the biggest challenges for our company program students and most recent alumni, in that working with their peers or working with friends can also be a challenge when something comes along that you maybe need to have a difficult conversation about. So what have you found about that in your experience, where you can give some advice?
Do you know, funnily enough, it's the thing I remember most about my own experience of young enterprise, was there was a lot of falling out and people complaining about other people not pulling their weight, and as I say, all wanting the same job, and some people thinking they should have had it. And in the workplace, it was because you're not with your peers so much. You can maybe start a company with them, but otherwise it's easier in a way because you're not with your friends and you don't have to keep them happy. You don't have to be friends with people. You have to be professionals. So I think you have a set of rules and you follow them. But I have no great advice other than talking to people regularly, because it's not very easy, and I've made heaps of mistakes on the way. I've employed the wrong people, employed the right people, but not helped them get to where they wanted to be. I've hired people and fired people in all sorts of the wrong ways. I think you just need to learn and have help and listen to people and get mentors to help you if there's an area of the business you're not so confident in. So, and use a team. So I'm a great believer that not everyone has all the skills. So build a team around you that has the right shape and all the different skill sets, because someone in your team will be good at something. And I had some people that were great with HR, and then I used them greatly.
And I think when we spoke earlier, we're just chatting about some of that, how you manage those relationships, and having that conversation, as you've mentioned, is so important. Having an open dialogue, because there's nothing worse than that managing position being so far removed from, and the ego and power that comes with that sometimes, that it's actually really unhelpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having regular conversations is actually ideal. So the people I saw in my business that did it best had like a informal chat every week, and they could talk over it. And the ones where it worked worst was where you bottled it all up and then had one conversation every 3 months, and then all the stuff comes out, and it's just unhelpful, unconstructive. So lots of regular conversations to feedback the positives and the negatives, and then they don't become big things and you can keep on top of it. I say this like it's easy, and for some people it is, for myself not so much, but you have to try and work as hard as you can.
And we do have a question come in for you, Emma, from our LinkedIn audience. So we've got a question here from Amy. What was the top piece of advice you were given when you did the program that you'd like to pass on to anyone doing the program this year?
Oh, wow. you know, Amy, we're talking like more than 20 years ago. This is a long time. I don't think this was advice we were necessarily given or I followed, but I would say if there's opportunities to do training on that course, I'd go take it, because I think that helps a lot in life, is going to talk to experts and training. And if that's available, then go do it. Go do some learning and find some things out. I learned a lot over the years in various training courses and experts. So I don't recall that being advice I was given, but it's a long time ago. But that's, if I was on a course now, that's what I'd be doing.
That's what you'd claim as your advice. But we'll claim that. That's fine. We've got another question for you.
Get as much out as you can.
Absolutely. Take the experience and for what it's worth, and just get everything out of it. Absolutely. We've got another question here for you. They're flooding in now. What would you say is the best way to get more exposure and further establish more relationships alongside the sector you're focusing? This user uses LinkedIn and Twitter mainly. But what would you do for you building that network?
Well, I joined some, do you know, I've got alarms going off all over my house. It's terrible. They just know. So through work, we do LinkedIn, but I do find it builds a network of a particular type. So I have a lot of LinkedIn contacts who are corrosion engineers around the world. It's not really ideal alongside a sector I'm in. But there are quite a lot of groups out there. So Entrepreneur Exchange and Vistage, and groups where you can go be with like-minded business people, and I'd go join them and hear about that. I particularly enjoy them because you get to hear about challenges other people face, and they're generally the same about people or about money, but slightly different, and you can hear about other people do it. So I'd actually go join a peer-to-peer network.
Perfect. Excellent advice. And another question as well, sorry, Emma. This next one is, from your experience, if you can remember, what impact did the business advisor have on your team when you did?
Oh, do you know, he was just amazing. I actually don't remember much, but he was really, we were just clueless. We were naive and clueless. We didn't know what product we wanted. We didn't know what roles to do. And he just talked us through about being in a business, and he talked a lot about his own experiences. We had tours of the factory, and he talked about all the different jobs and what people did. So that business advisor, you know, we wouldn't have been there without a business advisor. Like, clearly you couldn't do it without one, but we would have been lost. So even just gentle nudges, I don't think he ever told us anything. Like, he never said, mate, this is a product, or you take this role. But that kind of nudging into making us make decisions, he was brilliant.
Oh, well, that's great to hear. Obviously, we're always keen for anyone listening in for more advisors all across the country to get involved in supporting our company program. But we're nearing the end of our chat now, Emma. 20 minutes has flown by. But I wonder if I can just ask you one final thing. That's all about, from your extensive experience today and your time in the company program and everything you've done since and now in your current role, what is your golden nugget of advice? You know, that piece of advice that you think is super important for any of our, you know, alumni that are out here listening in, or our current students to actually take on and learn from?
I just go do something you enjoy. So I didn't go to do business. I went to do a subject I enjoyed, and then I joined a business that I liked the sound of, and I took on the jobs in that I enjoyed. I don't know. I think if you enjoy something, you do it well. So try and pick and keep it stuff you don't. And if you're not enjoying it, do something else. Try and change, especially when you're young. There's so much opportunities. So just try and enjoy and keep learning and do some training, because then you'll find other things that you enjoy and build upon.
Well, an excellent positive piece of advice to finish our session on this afternoon. So, Emma, thank you so much for your time, in your busy schedule, to come and share with us your story about your experience of company program and everything that you've been up to since. So, wish you all the very best of luck with your continuing endeavours with your business, and thank you Emma's also a member of our alumni board as well to get involved as a volunteer. So we're always keen to help celebrate and promote the work of people that are involved in the charity. So if you want to join us for our next session, it's our final one of the year in December. Keep an eye out on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube for the details with our next guest yet to be announced. So Emma, thank you so much for your time, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll hopefully see you on the next one. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.